I am recording.
Just came back from a partial walk. You know, couldn't bring it home. Couldn't bring the medal home for 5 mile accomplishment.
Well, you tried.
I did
to
try.
do that.
Aww, cute. Do I have one too?
You have one too.
Oh, that's so cute. So that's actually an accessory. Shure microphone
No,
covers?
It's here, I'll give a shout out to the company. Hold on.
That's awesome.
And the only the only reason why I will give a shout out to the company, who if you are watching, you see this. We have a what's called a mic plate. If you're listening, just on the bottom of our microphones, after having done this for almost 20 years, we have, because for years I thought about buying one of those microphone flags. And I just never really liked it, the big square boxy looking thing.
Yeah.
So this is a little less obtrusive.
Yes.
You see Rosary Army on the screen, from
So it's really
microphone.
only visible for the close-up shot because the microphone is just on your face, and now you see Rosary Army. I love it.
And the only reason why I'm going to give a shout out is because the company that did it, the guy who did it, did a handwritten thank you on the invoice.
And you have a thing about handwritten
I do,
thank you
and
notes.
we still do that with the rosaries that we send out, don't we? If you or Lily send them out, you actually sign your name on it.
We actually write. We print out a letter just for them, and it is always signed with fresh ink. And now our daughter is the one who signs her name, usually in a sparkly colored gel pen of her choice.
So there's this, and so it's mic plates, micplates.com, micplates.com, and so give a shout out to them. Super fast, and I was pleased for it, and they gave me a thank you with a 10% coupon for my next order.
I love it.
So we have these mic plates, but you will not see them in this episode, or the next episode, or the next episode after that, because those have been recorded. We just got these. I wanted to surprise Jennifer, and I also need something to put at the beginning of the show as bonus content, including this bonus content.
Which is now at the end of the show.
No.
It's the end.
This goes at the beginning is what I'm trying to say.
Of which show?
How was I going to put this at the beginning of the show I'm trying to do for today? Why can't you read my mind, Jennifer?
I understand now.
Why can't you read my mind?
I mean, this happens all the time. He's using the right words. I'm just not getting the right meaning. I'm sure you have great conversations with your spouse.
We're not doing a show right now. Don't start a new topic.
I'm going to finish my coffee.
Let's instead watch this bonus content that I plan to show at the beginning of this episode before the actual show begins. That explains this episode.
What are you looking at? It's like you're talking to the ottoman. Hi, ottoman. We're doing the show.
So the show that you're about to see is a continuation of our discussion from the last episode, where we just were jibber-jabbering. We're out for a walk right now, and I just told Jennifer when I get home I need to somehow put that show together, and she just said, release it as bonus content. And I thought, well, how do I do that without any explanation whatsoever? And then I thought, you know what? There's this thing in my pocket right now that I could use and record really bad audio and just say, hey, what you're about to see is bonus content.
Well, another way to look at it is what you got before was like the main course, and now you're going to get the dessert. This is like little extra food to follow the meal that you just had.
So if you are listening to this right now, thank you for listening to it. Make sure you're leaving your reviews over at wherever you listen to it. But if you want to see a little bit of extra stuff, then you can want to watch it over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Rosary Army. And so this is the introduction. This week's show is Random Conversations with Greg and Jennifer. That's it.
And you know what else? My head is really small in this video. No, go back to that other. You can literally do this with your hand and put my head in your hand.
Forced perspective.
I'm not really this tiny in real life.
And I'm not really this big. Enjoy the show.
This was the side I was supposed to use.
Yeah, have you already done 3?
Yeah, there's 4 over there.
Honey.
I thought I had the long end, And I'm committed now. I'm going to finish.
I think there's still. I hear the coffee from this morning, so it's only 9 hours old.
You hear the coffee from this morning, so it's only 9 hours old. That statement makes no sense. It's the craft.
You know exactly what I meant.
That actually sounded like the lyric of a song.
What?
Something like from Squeeze. Something about coffee.
That's coffee in bed.
Yeah.
There's a stain on my notebook from where my coffee cup was.
Yes. There's a sound over there from where the coffee. I mean, it just sounded kind of like that.
This is going to be like cold or very, very lukewarm.
Well, you know what? Sounds like something you would appreciate. I would never drink it if it was cold coffee. Is like gross.
It's like lukewarm.
I can't handle cold coffee. That's disgusting. Iced coffee, disgusting.
Yeah, I don't understand why Lily does that.
However, if you do like a frappuccino thing and it's like got ice cream in it, that's like a whole other thing. I'm good with that. It's just so sugary. Okay, so now that the show's over, now we can have like a real conversation. Because that's what I always do.
Yeah, the difference is we just had a real conversation. So now it's like, now that the show's over, now that we had a real conversation, let's have a fake one. Hey, what's up?
Oh, no, this is not fake.
Greetings, folks. My name is Greg Willis from Rosary.com.
No, I'm not saying we do that now. But now, and I knew today was going to go this way, that we were going to have to rehash a conversation that we already had and to say it again. But we need to get to the point where everything we say is new stuff, like things that you and I have not previewed ourselves. Because that's what we do. We don't have the same conversation twice, even in our marriage. So we have to get to the point where what comes out is all new.
Here's a struggle that I have. In this room, I would love to leave these cameras just as is right there, but I can't work like that. I can't leave everything. I wish.
Weird.
When Ben is gone.
Ben, our son?
Yeah, when Ben moves out,
yeah,
when he's done with college. I mean, that room is too big for me alone, but I'd like to have an office that isn't a student, that's not this, you know, it's a multi-purpose space. Like, I don't do creative stuff because I just don't want to go, I don't want to be in here any longer than I have to be, you know? I don't go into the closet and pray or paint.
What do you want to do in this other office?
I'd like to have a space that is where I work and do creative stuff. And then there's the studio that's just cameras. Like, this should just, I mean, Mother Angelica didn't go work in the TV studio. She had two different spaces. I don't know, Jennifer. I want everything and nothing.
Yeah. You're such a contradiction. A walking contradiction. It's so funny how we Americans use our houses in such a particular way.
How do you know it's just an American thing?
I just feel like it's an American thing. Therefore, it must be true.
As long as you feel it, it's a fact.
Be careful now. You do not want me saying that to you.
Facts don't care about your feelings, Ben Shapiro says.
Well, it seems like a very common way of using a lot of the homes in America. Well, not all of America, granted, but in the upper middle class area where you have houses that are 5-6 bedrooms, we have just a husband and wife living in it. That each room becomes used for a hobby or a purpose. Yeah. You know.
But I mean, if you have the rooms, you're good. What is it? Space abhors a vacuum. If you have a space, you're going to fill it.
And there was a time in America where it was filled with people, and now it's filled with.
Well, but listen, if we had a 2-bedroom house, we could make a 2-bedroom house work. We'd have
to really
but
change the way we live.
But if we have the space, why wouldn't you want to use? Why wouldn't you fill it up with something meaningful? I mean, what I'd really love it to be, honestly, I'm not joking. What I think I think the resale value would suck if you did this. But if we had, Ben leaves or whatever, or in a few years when Lily moves out, to have like a dedicated library room that's like make it look like a really, dark, English type library, kind of like what the Barons have done in the front room, but like have like the dark, rich brown leathers, and that would. I think that would be cool to have like a dedicated library room that looks like an old English library of some sort. I don't know.
Okay, so if you have 5 rooms, design your ultimate, and it's just okay. And we have to put some qualifiers.
Are we still married?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. Is that actually?
So we
makes
both
a big
are living.
difference.
I mean,
Okay, no, something happened to me. We don't have to dwell on that. It's now you.
2 rooms.
You would only want 2 rooms? I mean, like
2. No, I'd have like that doesn't count a living room. You'd have a kitchen and a den / living room.
Okay.
Right.
What areas would you like to have in a home that's can be closed off with a door?
Well, that's
because the library is one.
Actually, I don't know if I can answer it. The idea of if you weren't around, I don't know if I could answer that. It would be. I'm telling you, I've had this thought for a long time. It would be very minimal. I'm not going to podcast when you're gone.
Right.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
I mean, if you, God forbid, you were to die in a car crash tomorrow.
Oh, well, hold on now. This is actually an interesting conversation. Does that mean now Rosary still stays? It's just the podcast stops.
I don't know. If I could find someone to take over the distribution of the rosaries,
yeah, it could be given away.
Then I mean, listen, I don't know.
Someone will take it. Someone would want it, I would think.
Oh gosh, I mean, no, I've thought of, you know how it is. You're driving, the next thing you know, you're a widow for 5 years.
Yeah, I know. I do that too sometimes.
That if you were gone. See, I always get this hypothesis always throws me off though, because then the kids come into play, and I'm like, well, yeah, but then the kids are still around, so I still need to be close by to the kids.
Yeah.
Here, that the kids and proximity to church always throws me off.
You can't really leave.
You can't really leave.
You can't run away.
I mean, you don't have to belong to a parish. You could be a
nomad.
A nomad, but you'd want. I mean, I would want. All right, so here's my dream day. If we lived close to our parish that we actually go to, I'd go to daily mass.
Mm-hmm.
I miss daily mass. I'd make that a part of my day. I would like to think that at some point I would need something to do outside of the house that didn't feel like work.
With or without income attached? Like what?
Doesn't necessarily have to have income attached.
Okay.
Like volunteer type something, but I don't know what. I don't know what volunteer will, because I kind of feel a little bit like what we do, even though the podcast isn't volunteer. I feel like it kind of is, because I think about it every hour on the hour of my life. Are you like that? Do you think about the podcast every hour?
No.
I do. I think about Rosary Army and the podcast. An hour does not pass that I do not think about it.
What do you think I think about?
Me.
And Lily.
Oh, I was kidding.
No. I'm not. I think about the people in my life. Hour.
See, I feel like y'all are okay.
An hour. I'm just not. Now, this could be for a whole host of reasons, that because I'm the mom, I don't know how I'm wired. Because of you, in a great way, I don't have to think about the burden of the income. Like, I know that you're doing that heavy lifting so that I can do other heavy lifting. And so I go right to family management and some version. marriage, family is where my brain sits. And what things do I do to support those two things is where I go. But what frees me up to be 100% over there is the fact that you're thinking about the podcast or something relating to.
That's fair. Then that makes me feel a little bit better about what you just said a minute ago, that you are thinking about Lily or me. And I'm like, well, because when you said that, I immediately felt, oh, I'm deficient because I'm not thinking about you and Lily all the time.
No.
But I think y'all are a little bit bundled into it. If these things are taken care of, y'all are taken care of. I got to take care of these things, you're taken care of.
Sure, I can understand that. I think that's a part of the breadwinner sort of.
But I'm not thinking. But when I say I think about the podcast,
or provider,
I don't think about it. I don't think about Rose Jeremy and the podcast in terms of providing. I know it does. I think about it in terms of. I'm terrified is the wrong word. That's the wrong word. Scared, that's the wrong word. It's not a fear-based. The story of the servants and the talents
haunts you?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I do not want to have to. I don't want to have to answer for it. I want to show up knowing I did it. I did my job. I did what I did. God gave me these responsibilities, and I did it. I don't want to show up and him going, well, what'd you do with all that? I gave you all the opportunities in the world. And then so like when we don't podcast for 4 months, I'm like, oh, geez, Pete, I'm going to answer for this. But then I have to stop and go, and this is what Peter said in therapy. To the point of what I just said, now it doesn't go by where I don't think about it. It's like, you are. I'm doing my job. I am taking responsibility for it. I may not be doing the X output of podcast, but I'm doing the job, and I've done the job. But it's never as good as I think it should be. Mm-hmm. Like self-reviews when I had.
But isn't that good for your humility?
See, but there's a balance between I suppose, but I feel like there's a fine line between I don't even know how to say it. All right, humility is a good thing. We're supposed to be humble, right? Mm-hmm. Humility is a good thing. But are we supposed to be humble to the point where we develop self-esteem issues? I suck. I'm terrible at this. I mean, it's like what's humble and what's degrading, right?
Well,
how much self-degradation do I do?
I guess what St. Louis de Montfort might say to that, because in his writings, he uses very strong language about doing violence to not yourself, but to the pride within you.
Or isn't Aquinas calls himself a dumb ox? Or is that someone else?
No, I mean, that name has been attributed to him because his classmates made fun of him and called him that.
Well, someone else.
He didn't give himself that name. Okay. It was given to him by his peers. Okay. However, when we say things like, I suck, now that is a direct attack at self, okay? But if you were to say, there's got to be a better way to sort of lower yourself, not to lower you, but to do violence with the pride within you. That's who you're really fighting. You're fighting that enemy that's trying to grow. That's the thing that sucks, not the purity of who you are. It's that bad side that's trying to take over. That's the thing that you've got to destroy because it's evil. It's bent on your destruction anyway. So you have to be very careful with those words and make sure they're being pointed in the right direction. So there are times.
I'm not very good at that.
When you've explained that to me before, and I totally understand your reasons. They're very valid. There are times when I know where I may have a court of vanity that's trying to like flirt with me or grow, and I'm like, oh no. I am a worm. I gotta pull. I'm talking to that, and I know you've already you told me how much you don't like that, but I know who I'm talking to, and it's not the good Jennifer. It's the bad Jennifer. I'm talking to that.
every part of me becomes a worm. Every part of me becomes useless, right? But I'm a precious child of God. How am I a precious child of God with meaning and purpose and value, but at the same time, I'm a piece of crap?
Well, and again, it goes down to how do you both be a slave and feel like you're precious? Like these are.
How do you be a slave and have freedom at the same time?
Yeah, and this is an incredible duality that they seem to contradict each other. But I think that you said something earlier about how Jesus is more perfectly himself, and he didn't try to be something to please other people or something to that effect. And what is he calling us to do? To be perfect means we have to be completely empty of ourselves. And that means pride cannot exist. It has to be gone. We have to get it out. These are complicated ideas that we're being invited to meditate and contemplate and all that. And that's why we ask our guardian angel, please help me understand this idea so that I can be empty, so that Christ can fill me. Because he, en masse, we receive all of him and he wants all of us right back. So how do we surrender 100% of ourselves? That means we're not trying to please ourselves anymore. We're just trying to please him. Everything is for him. Everything we do is for him. So we're doing this right now for Jesus. We're doing it for him.
There's so many times where it's like, I get that in my head.
Okay.
But that's where I believe help my unbelief.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
That's where, like, how can that be valuable? How can that be worthwhile?
This is what we're working through. This is just where we are on the journey. Hey, babe, when I do this is I forget this knot. I don't do this knot very often. Is it just...
Which one? Is it the
I'm
centerpiece?
joining the two. Yes, the centerpiece. So I just do one, or do I have to do it again? Okay.
Yeah, you go around twice. Your knots aren't aligned.
They're aligned enough. How do you know? How can you even tell from there?
I can tell one was further back than the other. I can see it through your fingers. No. Those two at the close to the centerpiece knot.
Oh, the rings here?
No. The first two Hail Marys, they were not aligned.
Are they better now?
They're a little bit. You need to tug the one on top more.
Oh man, I can't stand that. Oh, so painful when it gets all springy, like I can't recover.
It's very difficult to watch someone else make a rosary.
I got it. Ha.
But how much space is there? Okay,
it's not terrible.
But you wait. Don't tighten it yet.
I don't know if I can get it to go down.
You can. You got to pull hard. There you go.
Okay.
Oh no! You never tighten that way, honey. How dare you tighten that way? You just grabbed it from both sides, and that's how you make the knot move. You always got to hold on to the knot. You knew that. That's like a number one cardinal rule you never break.
So that's unacceptable?
No, let me...
I'm telling you, it's so tight, you're not going to be able to make that knot go up towards the centerpiece.
What I'm saying is you just made it... You had it in the right place.
Yeah.
And then you didn't grab the knot and pull the string. You pulled from both sides. And then that lengthened... That moved the knot.
Okay.
But you...
Can it be salvaged? Look at it.
Can I just... I know I want it to be 100% your rosary.
Yeah. But good luck. Here, I'll let you.
I'm not gonna. I just want to see if I can move that knot.
It's really tight.
You had there.
It's really, really tight.
I got maybe.
You think you moved it?
Yeah, I felt it. Oops. I felt it move. But
okay.
Your spacing is.
Yeah, it looks a little closer.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. You can have that. Assist. I'll say Greg assisted.
You don't need to say anything.
We have to do something in our older years, when it's just you and me living full time, just the two of us.
You worry about that a lot more than I do.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to be always... how you talked about having something to do out of the house, I know I have to have something out of the house.
Well, if I were by myself, I think I would need to do that. I don't need to do that now.
Right.
I don't want to do that now. I have no desire to do that now.
You really just like being at home.
I do, like being at home. I could see, another way of volunteering in a weird way, and this just came to me. It's like just taking that hour of adoration every week. That would be enough. Like 2:00 Thursdays, that's my time. That's probably more
Gets you
of
out.
that's what I would end up doing, is something along those
You'd be
lines.
a guardian.
Yeah, something like that. But going back to that conversation of if I were by myself, before we even have this conversation, we should ask, should you have that conversation? Is that a worthwhile conversation? Is there any value in mulling over that kind of worst case scenario?
Well, it's not a worst case scenario, but what it does, it kind of reveals something about what you value, because you're going to answer the thing that bubbles up to the surface as something that you think is worthwhile doing. And so I think that's interesting to look at, because that could change.
On the 2 times where I lived in hotels by myself when we were moving, so in Denver, I was there for like 3 months, end of January, February, March, April. So about 3 months.
1 second, 3 months. An Our Father and then a crucifix at the end.
Correct. So do you have a crucifix?
Yeah,
there's one in that bag.
It's in the bag. So you're by yourself living.
Well, it's an Our Father with a crucifix.
Oh.
You don't make an Our Father and then a crucifix and then a separate knot.
That's what I was asking you.
No.
I'm at the end.
You make an Our Father, but before you tighten it,
Oh.
you put that crucifix on and then you put it back through.
Okay.
Like you're making basically a hangman's noose.
Yep.
So it's like I was 3 months in the Colorado hotel, and then in Indiana when I moved there before you. I got there June, July, August. So I was there for 2 months. So 5 months I've lived since we've been married. 5 months I've lived by myself in a hotel. 5 months out of 29 years. And there are certain things that I really like. When y'all showed up both times, I remember how discombobulating it was, because
it had to have been.
Because one thing that I do value, and it's sort of like what I was saying a little while ago, is like, if when the start of this conversation, like I like to put something where it's supposed to be and leave it there, and if I can make it look nice, that's a bonus. So if we had a dedicated studio where I'm going to have to take these cameras down. We're going to have to set them back up again.
Not unless we speak for 4 hours. We do this once a month.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, we might just cut up these bits. Just like
divide it into 4. This is the October session.
Like when we keep getting long, it's just like, that's a spot where I'll just cut out the long thing and just go, the exploding rosary or something. That'll be the transition.
It took me all month to make this rosary. So it was discombobulating when we showed up.
Well, like, I'm not kidding you. I've always liked things organized neatly. That's always, and I do that even still. Like, sometimes, like after I work out and I'm going to take a shower, I don't know why I do it. I'm embarrassed to admit I do it, but I think it's just something I like. But like, on our bed, I'll put my phone down and I put my rosary down next to it, and I'll take off my glasses and I'll line up all my things. I'll take off my scapular, fold that, and I got everything lined up, just sitting there on the bed waiting for me for when I come out. I can re-equip myself with my things.
I have seen that. I have noticed a particular pile. It seems like it was placed.
I just like how it looks.
All right.
And so when I was in the hotel by myself, I did that with things. Like my toiletries in the bathroom, it gave me a sense of order. And
nice.
Order gave me a sense of normalcy, because living in a hotel by myself was anything but normal, right? And I liked things being in very particular places.
Here is the finished product. First, I don't know, you can't call it a podcast rosary. That doesn't make sense. The first rosary made during a podcast production by me. I should qualify it that way, because I don't ever do this. However, I will say, and maybe I shouldn't say this.
Go ahead.
It's something on the website because I've been that when people look for the instructions, they can't find it. And so I've been sending it to them manually every time.
Well,
So
it's because of the change I made with School of Mary that it's in the resources on School of Mary's library now.
Yeah, and I've gone to it, and it's way at the bottom, and I'm like, oh, they're not. I don't think they're scrolling all the way down. They give up, and so I'm like, it's there. Trust me, just scroll all the way down.
I need to ask if there's a way for us to set up. I'll do that.
Okay.
If there's a way for us to make the resource library open, public.
Oh, that would be great. Because sometimes I think that's just what people want. They just want the instructions, and they don't really want to see anything else yet.
And so they'd have access to it though, without registering. So
I'm okay.
So
with
you
that.
wouldn't have. But that's how people start like downloading. Wait, which form? Which
how to make
the instructions?
It's the instructions on how to make it. They're not. They keep thinking that they're not getting it, even though they are.
So I wonder if you can make specific resources available.
That would be
like just to make them, because I don't want.
That's such a popular one that has to have a place where it can be all by itself, where they can't get lost.
Okay.
You know, because it's like when you
it's
go
been written
into a
down,
library.
so therefore you can consider it written down.
It has. This is your ubiquitous post-note bound form.
Yes.
The same as me.
Okay.
Yes. Are you comfortable?
A little. I'm very aware that a good portion of my shot will be my knees. But
That's the leg cam. Thank you so much for letting me sit on this side.
And hey, how do I do that? I had
You're on all the cameras.
It's like, how do I make it? There.
Wow.
It's coming. Can you see it? Can you see 2 and 3?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I want to take a picture of that. That's like perfect.
You've discovered it, folks. This is how Greg found his entertainment right here.
This is how I get energized to do the show again.
You got to make it silly somewhere.
What? That's so gross.
That looks terrible.
Terrible. Oh, I love that. That's gonna be in the show. That's podcasting.
It's what we would have done.
See, that's what I got into this business for.
Is to do those weird things.
Oh, that's really funny.
What's funny is how you have such a particular laugh. Now you're not going to do it.
I don't. Yeah, laughs are
tricky.
You have a nice ha 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 ha.
Oh, I don't think I've got some goofy ones. I know I do.
I guffaw, and I've noticed Walter does it too.
Walter
just goes ha.
He just does one sound. That's
but I'll do
it's
that.
Just a ha.
Mine starts with that, and it'll go, and then it just does this.
And who's the one who's the silent? Is that Tommy?
Tommy does that.
That's so weird. How all your kids they just laugh so differently.
What about your kids?
All our kids. You have such pronoun. You're so sharp on that, man. If I say the wrong pronoun, woo.
Well, if you just use the right pronoun, then I wouldn't have an issue.
See, there was a time when that is such an innocent statement. Now it means something totally different.
What do you mean?
Pronouns. Using pronouns.
Oh, yeah. Oh, weird.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought that's what you meant. I thought that's what you give me a hard time for. Like, use the right pronouns.
Well, no.
Like
I mean,
them and
yes,
he,
but
she, and
but in the way that they're supposed to be
right.
used. I mean, you would say, we mowed the grass. I'm like, did we? That's my pronoun names.
Right. The royal we.
Yeah, I never thought about that until just now. I was like, yeah, I guess we all have a different level of pronoun angst now. That I'm talking about pronouns the way that they were designed to be used, meaning my, ours, we went.
I did this thing. We did this thing.
They went there.
I'm pregnant. We're pregnant.
Yeah, the we're pregnant was the.
I mean, that's
see that was
Now there should be quotes around that because that affects the husband as well.
We're going to have a baby because she's pregnant.
Right.
That's how you use that pronoun.
That's how it should be.
But no, my angst always was with the just, and I don't think it's prideful. It's just because like I would never say, if you clean the bathroom, well, we cleaned the bathroom this morning. No, you cleaned it. I want you to have the credit for what you did. Mm-hmm. You made dinner. That was a great dinner that you made.
Well, thank you for making the bed all the time yourself.
Well,
I usually have no part of that.
Well, see, there's no issue with when you're talking to me directly saying, thank you. You don't say thank us for making the bed. You're not going to say that. You're just thank you. But it's like if you're talking, what it is when you're telling someone else the story, or when we're podcasting, you're telling someone else the story.
Oh, is that still happening?
Well, I mean, it's recording. I don't know if we're going to actually use it, but we make the bed every morning. Do we? That's what that's what it's. I jump in.
Yeah.
We make the bed every morning. We mow the grass every week. Yeah. Those are pretty much the only ones.
Yeah. Because we're just so evenly. We just divvy up our responsibilities evenly.
I think I'm done.
I think I'm done too. It's been great. So basically, you know what's going to happen? We're going to go downstairs. We're going to find another place to sit down. Hey, look, it's you again. We're sitting and talking again. Just this time with no microphones in our face.
We'll talk to you again soon. Next time we'll wear different clothes. Make them, pray them, give them away. Goodbye.
Ta-da.
You say, ta-da! I say, go away!
Such an introvert.